Hello and welcome to Let Us Farm. My name is Emelifong Noel Oge of Let Us Farm. So today we'll be discussing how not to change water in your pond and have no crisis. In other words, we'll still be discussing things surrounding things that make probiotics. What is exact meaning of probiotics and how do we use it in our pond? So we shall be discussing all these things in a short while. Meanwhile, if you have any problem in your farm, all you need to do is to do a video of your catfish. Do this video when you are feeding your fishes and send this video to 081 353 48909. WhatsApp only. Please don't call. When I look at these videos, I will be able to give you an answer that will solve your problem. And remember to attach notes on what you are sending on the video, or you can do a voice note and send it. I will still be able to look at it and tell you exactly what you will do to solve your problem. These services are free. I'll be right back to discuss this. Welcome back. So like I said, we'll be discussing how to raise your catfishes and not changing water. I know that basically everyone is interested in this topic because I'm discussing this because of the comment I picked up from the comment section where someone was asking me to discuss about using mud pond and not changing water in a catfish farm. So that's why I have, okay, let us talk about it and know what are the implications and what are the results at the end of the day. So let's start from why do we change water in a catfish farm? What is the purpose of changing water in a catfish farm? So that we can understand from where and why it's happening. All right. Now, you all know that catfishes, they live 100% of their life inside water. So why do we change water in a catfish farm? The reason why we change water in a catfish farm is that where the fishes are living, they eat food inside this water. Process of them eating those food that you throw, there are crumbles and particles from feed ingredients that may pollute the water. That's number one reason. Number two, because they live inside water and they eat inside water, they also pass their waste and urine inside the same water. So it's like a vicious circle. They eat, it goes, digest, they pass it out as feces and urine, and they still drink the same water. So you see, it's a vicious cycle. So because of this process, you are meant to change water. So each time you change water, you add a new life to your catfish. So I don't know if this is clear. Now somebody will now say, oh, if that is the case, why is it that the fishes that live in the river don't have their water changed? Now when you look at the structure of rivers, ponds, you see that these things are moving water. So what it simply means is that the portion that the fish is staying here now, in the next 1 second, it's not the same water that is still staying because it moves. So fresh one comes, fresh one goes. So you may also wonder, okay, why is it that some people that use etin pond don't change their water? Now, the reason is simple. The way the world is, we have things that happen on its own naturally. So wherever you see water on the earth surface, wherever you see sand, soil under the water, there is something we call nitrogen purification system. That is the process that you have nitrogen come out from that soil and dissolve into the water. So that process of it dissolving into the water actually purifies the water, making it new every time. And most times it happens at night when the temperature drops. So what it simply means is that that water that you saw the catfish is dirty, within some time, especially in the evening time, when this process of nitrogen recycling system happens, you come again, you see that same dirty water becomes neat. That is a natural situation. It's not like it is something that people induce. Now, some people will tell you that when you use an erator, it purifies the water. Aerator does not purify the water. What aerator does, what is aerator? Aerator is a mechanism, a machine that you put inside the water that adds oxygen inside the water through the fanning system. So when the aerator inside the water, it fans like this, the fan moves like this. So that process of moving of that coil of the fan actually boosts the oxygen level in that water. So it doesn't actually change the situation of the water, but it adds more oxygen in the water. Now, if you now have catfish inside this water, if, for example, if you have it on your etin pond and you have erator on that etin pond, what you are doing is that you are increasing the oxygen level in that etin pond. So when you are doing it, you may not necessarily change water in that etin pond, because you are also adding more oxygen through the erator, which is big industrial erator, not the small erator. I may try and infuse, like this picture now, this is an erator, so I'll infuse some pictures there for you to understand what those big aerators are. So the one you just saw now is an aerator that is on an etin pond. Okay, now let us look at what happens on your concrete pond. If you put an aerator on your concrete pond, can it work for you not to change water? It cannot work. Why can't it work? Because the concrete pond does not have any natural recycling system. So whatever is inside that pond, if you put the aerator, it will boost the oxygen level, but there is how that water will get contaminated. The oxygen level cannot survive the fishes. So you see the fishes hanging and struggling to get oxygen. So this is I'm just trying to break it so that you understand the clear definitions of how this thing happened. Because somebody asked me for mud pond, meaning is asking me for etin pond. Mud pond is referred as etin pond in many cases. So I have said this before. If you are using an etin pond, many people in etin pond don't actually change their water and their fishes don't die. But the thing is this: if you now want those your fishes to give you the best result, you have to change the water in your etin pond at least once a month. Then what some people do is that, because maybe for time, for many things, contingencies and everything, so they don't have the opportunity of doing it, what they do is every month they reduce the water level. They do what we call flow through, pump in new one, allow the old one to go out, and still support this etin pond with industrial aerator. Industrial aerator is not cheap, it's expensive. So they support this etin pond with industrial aerator. Now, if you are a new farmer, you are starting and you want to get yourself involved in all these expenses. The problem is when you are expecting your return on investment, it cannot come at one section. It could take 2 or 3 selling of the fish for you to recover all the capital investment you have done to start your fish farming. That's why I don't encourage people who wants to start catfish farming to go into all this. It doesn't save you. It doesn't help you. Now, if you are also on tarpaulin pond, there is no way your aerator will make you not to change your water. No. You must change your water. If you don't, what you are doing is that all the discharge of the fishes and everything will keep living with the fishes. And this will lead to disease breakout, which sometimes could be very deadly. What happens in the concrete pond is same thing as the tarpaulin pond. They don't have any natural recycle system. Same thing happens in tanks, rubber tanks that people use. There is no, so when people come and you are asking me those questions, I try to explain, but you think that I don't want to be fair, but it's none of my business. If you decide to do it your way, it's fine. Whatever result comes out of it, it's fine. Now, there is another issue attached to this, and that is the issue of probiotics. People think that probiotics is keeping catfish in a water without changing it. That's not probiotics. Probiotics is using living organisms that causes viruses to catfishes, put them inside the same water, inside the same pond where the catfishes are. And the symbiotic relationship of these things staying together means that they won't contradict each other by cross-infection, infecting any other, and they live together without any contamination. That is probiotics. It is expensive to do probiotics because some of these things we are talking about varies. What may work in this place may not be the same issue that this place have. So that means each place will have to be studied to know exactly what their problem is. Then that is when you use those micro elements in that area to also concentrate on keeping those fishes at a long time. That's why I tell people, don't go into these things because they are more complicated than you think. Now, somebody sent me a video, and in the video he sent me, somebody was, trying to show that in his farm, he is not changing water because he had some water crisis. Why I was laughing when I was watching the video, I said, when you look at this farm, what is the success rate in this farm? Why not show the results? I don't believe in things like this. Show the result. What is your success rate? What is your growth output? Now, what the person does is that he pours sand inside the tarpaulin pond. Now, if you remember what I explained about the etin pond of having the natural oxygen, nitrogen recycle system, you see what the person do? He pours sand inside the pond, then put his fishes there with low water, with hope that these fishes would have the natural nitrogen recycle system to work. And then he goes again to buy samples of probiotic elements that they package and sell and pour it inside the pond and say that this is probiotics. Unfortunately, there's no probiotics. And like I said, what is the resultant outcome of the fish? What is the resultant gain on that? I used to say this. If these things were very successful, practically very successful, you don't even need to start looking further to see it. Everybody will be practicing it. Because the major problem that catfish farmers are having is water. Is water. So people have done a lot of experiments, but it doesn't work because when it comes to commercial basis, you see, when you do something in a narrow base, you do it with like 20 fishes narrow, it seems it's working. It's not working because the fishes are getting used to that system. But the problem is that the success rate will not be commercially viable. So when you expand that thing, you now have crisis. Then you now start wondering, oh, it's like people have done me bad. Nobody did you bad. But because the thing was not even successful from the onset, but you believing that it was successful, you now expanded it and entered trouble. So if you must understand from what I have said from the beginning to this point, there is no logic. You can't keep your catfishes in concrete pond, tarpaulin pond, rubber tanks for some time without changing water. It is advisable to change your water every 2 days, at least every 2 days. Reason is that some people will wait for 3 days in an overstocked pond. There may be disease outbreak. But if it's not overstocked pond and you wait for 3 days, you may not see problem, especially if you don't pour excess feed in your pond. Example, a pond that is supposed to be 100 catfishes and you have 40 catfishes inside that same pond. Not the one you calculated, the one that, let me give you an example. A 10 by 10 by 4 tarpaulin pond is supposed to take 100 catfishes. 10 by 10 by 4. Now, you now have 40 inside or have 50 inside. So instead of changing water every 2 days, you change water every 3 days. And in the process of you feeding your catfishes, you don't pour excess feed in the pond. You see, these fishes will not have problem. But if you are having 100 in that same pond, it's advisable to change water every 2 days. The more the fishes are in an area, that is the more they have waste. That is the more exposure they have to contamination. Now, if you now have more in that same pond, it becomes a problem. And changing water every day is another problem because you are now stressing out your catfish and reducing the growth of your catfish. Some people come on the net, they say, oh, I'm changing water every day and I'm seeing the result. What are you seeing? What you are seeing is what you want to see. When you calculate what the same size of fish you have with the same size of management you are using with another person that is not changing his own catfish every day, you discover that you are not seeing anything. But because you are seeing what you want to see, you think that that is a good result. That's not how to judge the basis of results. So this exactly is what we have discussed. You need to change your catfish water at least every 2 days. Now, if you are on etin pond, it's advisable to change the catfish water once in a month. In some cases, like people that have the industrial aerator on their etin pond, it's advisable that once a month do flow through so that you allow new water to enter the same pond. Mind you, most etin ponds don't change their catfish water for 8 to 9 months. These fishes don't die because they have natural nitrogen water recycle system that happens under the water. If you have any question of this, kindly drop it in the comment section. And until I come your way next time, my name is Emelefo Oge of Let Us Farm. Keep farming. It's a way of life.